What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Chatting with Cheeze podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheeze, and y'all already know the motto: no gimmicks, only the real. And this is episode 57. Y'all know what I need from y'all. Continue to smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 300 subscribers. We this close. We almost there. So I need y'all to tap that subscribe button and also like and share the content when it drops. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Your boy tired today, y'all. I'm tired, but the show must go on. So I said, let's make it happen. So we all know this past weekend, NFL preseason kicked off, and the most highly anticipated thing of this weekend for the preseason was how would Shedeur Sanders look in his NFL debut. With Dillon Gabriel being hurt, Kenny Pickett being hurt, and Joe Flacco not playing, Shedeur Sanders was thrust into being the starter and playing the majority game of week one of the preseason for the Cleveland Browns. And I'm going to give my grade on his performance after I read, everything I put down. So the Cleveland Browns rookie received a starting opportunity in Friday's preseason opener despite operating as QB4 in training camp. The results were encouraging with 134 yards and 2 touchdowns on 14 of 23 passing. His first touchdown pass was particularly impressive, threading the needle to Caden Davis to take advantage of a muff punt from the Carolina Panthers. Overreactions to preseason games are a time-honored tradition in the NFL. Maybe that's what happened Friday, but Sanders enters the game needing to look like a potential starter, and that's what he did. It's hard to take away from that, especially when he made a few throws that wouldn't have looked out of place for the league's best. At the very least, Sanders made the next week of Browns training camp a lot more interesting. Well, what do we know? What do I know? What do a lot of people know? Other than the haters, how ironic. A guy that was projected all year leading up into the NFL draft to be nothing worse than a top 10 pick so happily slid all the way to the 5th round of the NFL draft. He went out there and looked good. Who would have knew? But, man, shout out to Shedeur Sanders. I'm so happy for bro. The grade that I give Shedeur for his performance on Friday night is an A. It would have been an A+, but those first couple of drives were a little rocky. He had to get his feet under him, a couple of overthrows, and was, just getting out there and getting the feel for it. But once he got the feel for it, Shedeur looked like the quarterback that he was in Colorado. He was calm, cool, collected. He showed poise, made the right decisions, and that first touchdown pass was a dot. I mean, to squeeze it in between 2 defenders and hit your guy right on the numbers, that was a hell of a throw. And then to come back and throw another touchdown, I believe it also was to Caden Davis, another great throw. And he just looked like he belonged. Like I said, and I'm sticking by my word, before the end of the year, Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starter of the Cleveland Browns. They can try to deny it all they want and keep throwing out guys like Dillon Gabriel, and I'm seeing the clips of Kenny Pickett. Yeah, all that is fine and dandy. But Shedeur Sanders cannot be denied. At the end of the day, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I see a lot of the haters out there, oh, well, he was going up against the 3rd string and 4th string defense. Well, duh, he's the 4th string quarterback on the depth chart for the Cleveland Browns. So now all of a sudden it's a problem. So you want the guy that's been playing, that's been getting 4th string reps in practice all these weeks now, but you guys want him to go out there and play the Panthers' #1 defense. And there actually were starters out there for the Panthers on Friday night. But I know how y'all like to do. I give him an A for his performance. Now, like I said, the Cleveland Browns could try to make this thing look weird all they want. As of this week, going into the week 2 of the preseason, Shedeur Sanders is still the 4th string quarterback on the depth chart. But at the end of the day, all they're doing is putting pressure on the guys in front of them. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. If Joe Flacco goes out there and stinks it up, the fans are going to be clamoring for Shedeur Sanders. Kenny Pickett goes out there and stinks it up, the fans are going to be clamoring for Shedeur Sanders. You already see he's getting the backing from the fans and he's getting the backing from the star players on the team. You see guys like Myles Garrett endorsing him. They had him mic'd up. Myles Garrett told him, we're going to need you. So at the end of the day, people can say whatever they want, but this kid he went out there and did what he's been doing. He went out there and looked like the same quarterback he was in Colorado. But for some odd reason, his attitude, his cockiness, quote unquote, so they say, made him slide all the way to the first round. And you got guys in front of him on the depth chart that's going 3 for 14 in training camp and things like that. But it's okay. Because guess what? Timing is everything. But I'm sticking by my word, and I'm gonna keep saying it before this year is out. I don't know what week it's gonna be, but before this year is out, Shedeur Sanders will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and you can mark my words on that, and I'm standing on that. Simple. We don't gotta keep going back and forth no longer. Now I don't know if Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett are gonna. I don't see a scenario where 40-year-old Joe Flacco plays. I do believe Joe Flacco is going to be the week 1 starter. I don't see a scenario where he plays in the preseason. Now, I don't know the status of Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett going into week 2, but I'm gonna say it just like this: if Shedeur Sanders goes out there and looks the same way he did in week 1, in week 2. Oh, trust me, all he gonna do is make the seat hotter for those other guys that's in front of him. That's just what it is. And like I said, you guys can try to deny it all you want, and Stefanski and all you guys can try to downplay it. Guess what? Shedeur Sanders is that dude, and he went out there and showed everybody, this is what I did in Colorado. First I started off doing this in Jackson State. I moved on and did it in Colorado, and now I'm gonna do the same thing in the NFL. And people want to keep throwing his dad and all these narratives out there. Guess what? His dad wasn't with him on Friday night, and he still looked like the quarterback that he was in Colorado. So, hey, it is what it is. So my grade for Shedeur Sanders Friday night is an A. It would have been an A+, but I understand, he had to go out there, get his feet wet, and, just get a feel for everything. But after that, he did just exactly what I expected him to do, and I expect him to do the same things moving forward. So for me, Friday night, I give my boy an A, and we'll see what happens moving forward. Moving on next, another anticipated preseason game. The Jacksonville Jaguars, because of Travis Hunter. Everybody wanted to see how would Travis Hunter look playing on both sides of the ball. So I'm going to give my thoughts on what I feel. Do I feel he can do it? But, I got some stuff I got down. So let me read this first. The first test of Travis Hunter's ability to play both ways in the NFL game is in the books. Hunter played 10 snaps at wide receiver and 8 snaps at cornerback in Saturday's 31-25 loss to the Steelers. Hunter caught 2 passes on the team's opening drive and had a third catch wiped out by a penalty before missing a tackle in his time on defense. He made a couple good catches on some option routes and missed the one tackle defensively that I noticed. Head coach Liam Cohen said via Michael DeRoche of ESPN.com. I'll have to watch the tape on how he operated defensively a little bit more, but I thought offensively he made the right decisions on those option routes, made a good catch, almost broke out of that one where Trevor Lawrence put it behind him on that third down we talked about, but I'll have to go watch the tape a little bit more to know more. Hunter said he was nervous at the start of the game, but calmed down before the first play and said he knows what I've got to do next time. Now that he has his first NFL game action under his belt. So the question that everybody's been talking about, and I've been seeing it come up on a lot of different shows and podcasts, is will Travis Hunter be able to play both sides of the ball in the NFL? And my thought to that is, I believe he can do it. Now, I believe it will have to be in spurts. Me personally, I think he's a better defensive back than wide receiver, but I do think he can also be a good wide receiver too in Jacksonville. Now, the question is, I feel like they should pick their spots when they want to play him, either at wide receiver. I believe he's going to be out there all the time at wide receiver. I think, honestly, they drafted him to play majority receiver. Now, I think they're going to have to pick their spots when they want to play him at defensive back, whether it be like in crucial, maybe third down moments or a game on the line or something like that. But I believe that Travis Hunter right now could be one of their best defensive backs day one. So I definitely believe he deserves opportunity at defensive back, but I believe they want him to play more on the offensive side of the ball. But I think he can do it. I mean, we watched him do it in college. With the fast pace in college, him being able to, keep up with that pace and also just be able to, pace himself and still be able to make plays on both sides of the ball. I think he will be able to do that in the NFL. It's just going to be about how do they plan on, limit to him having to be out there all the time and exert that much energy. But I like I like the idea of allowing him to play both sides of the ball if he's physically able to do it. Now, I like the point that Devontae Adams made on the podcast. I think he was just on the pivot. He made a great point, saying that he believes that he can do it, but the longevity, how long will his career be if he decides to do it all the time? And that's my question, the longevity. How long will he be able to sustain playing both sides of the ball with, the injuries and things like that? But I think starting out, if Jacksonville is smart, you play him full-time at wide receiver and you pick your spots where to play him at corner. Like I said, maybe it can be like a crucial third down or game on the line where you throw him out there. I don't think he needs to play corner all the time, but I think he's going to be on the offensive side all the time. Like I said, again, me personally, I feel like he's a better defensive back than wide receiver, but I don't think Jacksonville views him as a better defensive back than wide receiver. So we'll have to see, but I think he can do it. It's all going to be depending on how and what way they choose or decide to use him. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it's going to matter. But I think he comes in there and makes immediate impact. I know a lot of people want to go off of that the one tackle that he missed. The one tackle, it looked like he got stiff arm pretty bad, but stiff arm pretty hard. But I'm not really too worried about that. A lot of corners are not the best tacklers, but as far as being able to cover guys and make plays and be a ball hawk, I think he's excellent at that, and I think he could thrive at that. On the offensive side of the ball, I think with his speed and him being able to, I think he's a good route runner. I think he could succeed on both sides of the ball. I'm not too worried about. I mean, it is going to be tough. It is going to be a tough transition. The NFL not sweet. You got to think. You may have a game where you going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where you got a guard, where you got Jalen Ramsey on you on one side. You got to go against Jalen Ramsey on offense and then turn around on defense and maybe have to check DK Metcalf. You know what I'm saying? So those are the situations. That's why I'm saying the smartest thing for Jacksonville to do would be pick your spots on when you want to use him on defense, and I think you could use him on offense at all times. I think he will be their wide receiver too on offense, but on defense, you just pick your spots, and you just got to see what happens. But I think the biggest question is going to be how much can his body handle being out there, and they're gonna have to make sure to monitor that, because sometimes you're gonna have to save the player from themselves, because he may act like everything's good and dandy, but they're gonna have to monitor how well his body's holding up throughout the season, trying to play him both sides. We gotta understand, Travis Hunter is a small guy. He's not the biggest guy, so you're definitely going to have to monitor his usage on both sides of the ball if you plan on using him that way. But to answer my own question, will Travis Hunter be able to play both sides? I think he can, but it's all going to depend on how Jacksonville decides to use him, and do they pick their spots on, when they used to play him on both sides. So for me, I say yes, but I do understand if people want to question it and have their thoughts about it. But from what I've seen, his first preseason game, I'll give his performance about maybe a C+. He made 2 catches, but you didn't really get to see too much. You won't really get the full sample size of it or see what it looks like, I feel, until the regular season, because they're not going to go out there and risk him in the preseason and risk any injury or anything like that. So you won't know until the regular season comes around, but I can't wait to check it out and see how it goes. Moving on. And it's crazy, because this right here is somebody in my division, but I talked about this before. If you've been paying attention and watching my episodes, I talked about this before. How good will Abdul Carter be for the New York Giants? So Carter, the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, showcased his pass rushing prowess and limited action. Despite playing only 6 snaps, Carter generated pressure on all 3 of his pass rush attempts, including 2 pressures against the Bills' 4-time Pro Bowler left tackle Dion Dawkins. His suddenness, power, and technique stood out, with Giants GM Joe Scone and many praising his ability to impact the game immediately. Carter's efficiency in those snaps suggested a promising future as a dominant force on the Giants' defensive line. You rarely see star players from the New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys compliment one another publicly on social media, but that's exactly what we saw from edge rushers Abdul Carter and Micah Parsons after preseason week 1 of Sunday evening. Following Carter's impressive debut against the Buffalo Bills, Parsons reposted a clip of the rookie pass rusher commenting, "They asked me if Abdul could be another great. I told them he could be the best one." To which Carter then responded, "My brother, can't wait to see you get paid what you earn." How good will Abdul Carter be for the Giants? I'm going to keep it all the way 100. And this me coming as a Cowboy fan. I was so mad the Giants got Abdul Carter, bro. I wish he would have went number 1 or number 2 and did not get to the Giants. I believe Abdul Carter is the best player in this draft. Simple, point blank. I believe Abdul Carter is the best player in this draft. I believe the New York Giants got them an absolute stud in Abdul Carter. If you just sat and watched him, the pressure, he didn't even have to get no sacks. Just the immediate pressure he was getting on the corner and on the quarterback on Sunday in that preseason game. And a lot of people are going to want to try to downplay it to say, well, calling the guy he was going against was a Pro Bowler. No matter how you want to put it, he was a Pro Bowler. The quickness, the suddenness. You put him on that defensive line with Brian Burns, with Dexter Lawrence. They still have Thibodeau. That Giants defensive line is going to be top 5 in the NFL this upcoming season. Their defense is going to keep them and possibly win them a lot of games. People sleeping on the Giants. People are sleeping on the Giants. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think the Giants will make the playoffs, but that defense will win them a lot of games just off that defensive line alone. That defensive line, I think, is going to be that good. And Abdul Carter is going to be one of those guys that we're going to see for, I don't know what goes on, what they putting in the water up at Penn State. We ain't going to get into they all the way and they pass. But the pass rushes that come out of Penn State, and trust me, certain guys, when you watch them, you see it. You seen it with Micah Parsons. You seen it with Von Miller. You seen it with DeMarcus Ware. You see it. What I watched on Sunday with Abdul Carter, immediately he jumped off your screen. He jumped right off your screen. If I'm the Giants, I don't need to see anymore. I don't need to see anymore. Abdul Carter is going to be a superstar in this league. I think he's that good. I'm so mad that he felt that he had to fall to the Giants. But at this point, it is what it is. But when you got guys like that, I'm telling you, this kid, we going to be seeing double-digit sacks from him from year in to year out. We going to see it. That's how much I like this kid's game. This kid is the best. Was the best player in the draft. He could have easily went number 1, but we know the quarterback position you can't pass over, especially when you're in need of one. But there's no question to me who was the best player in this draft. I'm going with Abdul Carter, and the Giants got him. They got a stud. And Jackson Dart played his tail off too on Sunday. Russell Wilson, you go out there playing around if you want, and you won't have a job by week 5, week 6. I'm just saying, but this is about Abdul Carter. So how good will Abdul Carter be for the Giants? I think he will be a superstar. I think you can expect double-digit sacks from Abdul Carter every single year. And for any offense that got to play them, you're going to have to worry about Brian Burns on one side, Abdul Carter on another side, and then you have Dexter Lawrence in that middle, that defensive line is going to be a problem. And mind you, they still have, I don't know what their plan is with Thibodeau. Maybe he subs out when guys get tired, but that defensive line is going to keep the New York Giants in a lot of games and win them possibly some games that a lot of people not expecting them to win. I see people got the Giants only winning 2-3 games. Nah, I think they can win more because I think that defensive line is going to be that good. And that is also going to help a weak spot on their team, which is their secondary. So, hey, man, I think Abdul Carter comes in and makes immediate impact. Just like that. I think he comes in and automatically becomes a double-digit sack guy. I believe he's my pick for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I think he's going to be that good. I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over again, but I think he's a stud. And if you're a New York Giants fan, you should be super happy. You got you one. I think you got you one of him. For sure. So that's how good I think Abdul Carter will be for the New York Giants. But I spoke on it after the draft. I said I felt as though the Giants was one of the teams that won this year's draft. That I feel like they had a hell of a draft. You get Abdul Carter at the number 3 spot. You trade up. You get Jackson Dart. You were able to draft Alexander, one of the best defensive tackles in the draft. I believe they got him in the 2nd round. 3rd, one of the 2. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but man, the Giants had a great draft, and I think the future is looking up for the New York Giants. So I can't wait to see how everything turns out. As a Cowboy fan, I hope it don't turn out good no time soon, but hey, it is what it is, man. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up. Just a little quick joint for y'all. I told y'all I was tired, but hey, man, I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me each and every week. Like I said before, y'all know what I need from y'all. Smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 300 subscribers. Also, do not forget to like and share the content when it drops. I appreciate every single one of y'all for tapping in with me each and every week. And I see y'all next time.